What SEC teams will hit the over in the 2025 college football season? Friends, I got a fun video for us today. I'm really excited to do this one, and we're going to turn this into a series. So let me break down what we're doing, all right? So what we're going to do in this video and the foreseeable for this segment here, we're going to pick 3 teams from each Power 4 conference that I think will hit the over in the 2025 season. Now, when I say hit the over, that means win more than their projected win total and what that's at. The only reason I'm doing 3 teams instead of the whole conference is I feel like at that point, if you're going to bet your money on it, that's a lot to try to think about. I, for one, am not betting on the entire SEC to go over or under. I'm not doing it. I think 3 teams is enough to make you dangerous. It's enough to let you kind of think about it. And I think it would be fun to do it for the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC. Now, let me also put a disclaimer before we finally get into it here. If your team is not on here, or a team you think will hit the over is not in my 3 that I choose today, that does not mean I think they're going to go under. That just means I'm not 110% confident that I put my own money on it. These are the 3 teams that I am extremely confident will, and I would have a healthy debate as to why I think so. Anyone that's not on this, I'm not saying they won't. Now, I'm also going to flip this around and do another series where I pick 3 teams from each conference that I think will go under. So, again, for those of you that like to bet, this will be fun. Let's go ahead. Let's get it started. In the SEC, the first team I think will go over their win total is going to be the Texas A&M Aggies and Mike Elko's unit. Now, Texas A&M, their line sits at 7.5 wins this year. Now, the scary part about this, friends, is they have the 9th toughest schedule in college football. Now, I hear that. That's tough. But again, it's the SEC, right? That's the nature of the beast. I'm big on Mike Elko, and I'm really big on Marcel Reed's development. I think him and Colin Klein's chemistry is only going to grow stronger. I think Marcel Reed in that offense will get better. And I think a lot of the downfalls that Texas A&M had, I know they finished the year 1-4 in their last 5. Look, a lot of that I think had to do in part of things that we couldn't expect Mike Elko to fix in year 1 as it was. Like, he was able to really band-aid a lot of that stuff to the point where I feel like we didn't see it as much in the first half of the season, especially when Texas A&M started the year off extremely well outside of the loss to Notre Dame. I think towards the end of the year, the depth and some of the holes that Mike Elko couldn't really see until he got a 2nd or 3rd year under his belt started to come out and started to hemorrhage towards the end of the year, whether it was depth or, a lot of things that needed to be fixed that he finally got to see firsthand and say, okay, now when I go into year 2 and year 3, I can see that I can fix it. I am extremely high on Mike Elko. And again, 9th toughest schedule, but let's go through the schedule and let me tell you why I think Texas A&M will win more than 7.5 football games this year. Week 1, UTSA. That'll be a win. Week 2, they get Utah State at home. Those will both be wins, 2-0 start. They go to South Bend. They play Notre Dame. Night game, going to be a primetime game. That's going to be a big one. Now, listen, Notre Dame will have already played Miami. So if Notre Dame loses to Miami, I think that's worse for A&M because it's, more pressure for Notre Dame to have to win it. But again, Notre Dame's got a sour taste in A&M has a sour taste in their mouth. And they've got 2 tune-ups. Like, Notre Dame's coming in off of a tough start to the season. That's a big game. Now, again, it's on the road. That's the scary part. But we'll see if Elko has those boys ready to play after 2 tune-ups and after what happened last year. They get a bye after that. They then play Auburn at home. That one doesn't scare me. I think that could be a win. So let's say at worst right now they're sitting 3-1. Mississippi State, they should win. Florida at home. Look, the Gators obviously are on the up and up. The Gators' trajectory is moving up. But can we really say that Florida's ahead of A&M? I mean, Marcel Reed has probably proved more than DJ Lagway thus far. Elko has had more success than Billy Napier has in 1 year than Billy Napier's had in, 3 or 4 now in Gainesville? So, and again, that's not a knock. That Florida team will be extremely good this year. That's a tough game. Like, I'm scared to say that's a definitive win, but I think both of those teams could be argued as really right there with each other. I would almost say A&M might be a little ahead of the Gators. So that's going to be a big one. Now, at Arkansas, that one, again, Arkansas, we'll see. Pittman's probably coaching for his life, but it's a winnable game. At LSU is, of course, the scary one. That's a tough game. That's no joke. At Missouri, South Carolina at home, another winnable game. The Missouri game is winnable. Samford will absolutely be a win, and they finish the season at Texas. That one's sketchy as well. So even if you were to draw up 3 or 4 losses off this schedule, say Notre Dame, we can put LSU, we can put Texas, and either between Florida and South Carolina. It is just so hard for me to see Elko losing more than 4 games this year. I think South Carolina absolutely wins 8 games and gets over that line. Now, let's move to my next team. This one's going to be fun, and this one's not going to surprise, I think, a lot of people. This line is interesting to me that it's even set at this, but I'm going with Shane Beamer's team and the South Carolina Gamecocks to hit over on 7.5 wins as well. I'm baffled that the line's at 7.5 for South Carolina. Now, they have the 13th toughest schedule in college football, but this is a team that won 9 games last year. And really, you could argue they were how close to the 10th in that LSU game. Now, they absolutely choked that one away prior to the awful officiating in that football game. But all things considered, in reality, the world we live in, it's a team that won 9 games last year. They get their starting quarterback back. Nick Harbor's back. They have a good offensive line with both their left and right tackle returning starters from last year. They ran the ball well. They bring in 2 transfer running backs. On the defensive side of the ball, they were number 8 in takeaways per game last year. They have an amazing secondary with Kilgore coming back. I mean, I could go on forever. I haven't even spoke about Dylan Stewart. Let's pull up the schedule. But listen, I think Shane Beamer's team is on the precipice of finally finding the success that they wanted when they hired him. Like, I'm talking playoffs, 10-plus win seasons. Like, this feels like the year that South Carolina can absolutely do it. So I am 100% in and confident that South Carolina will hit the over on the win total this year. They play Virginia Tech week 1. Virginia Tech is an entirely new look team. I just did a preview and breakdown on that. You may have already seen it or it may not be up yet. We'll see. Nonetheless, though, I've previewed and broke down that game, and I'm nervous for the Hokies. Like, I love Brent Pry. I love that program and everything about him. But it's an entirely new team, and South Carolina's coming in on a mission this year. So, I mean, they're favored by 8 as the line stands now, and they should win that game. South Carolina State, they will win. Could be 2-0. Vanderbilt's getting better. I love what Clark Lee's doing there in Nashville, but I still think South Carolina is the significantly better team. They should absolutely win that. 3-0. At Missouri, again, Eli Drinkwitz, love what he's doing there, but I feel like South Carolina is the better team. They could be 4-0. Kentucky, a lot of people think Kentucky's going to be towards the bottom of the SEC this year. I never count Stoops out ever, and this is a game that South Carolina has at home. They got to show up for this one. It helps that they're at home. It doesn't really give me too much of a trap feel. They could absolutely be 5-0 going into a bye week. And then you think about the bye week right before going to Tiger Stadium and playing LSU is huge. That could be a massive game. Let's say even if they lose that, all right? They then play Oklahoma at home. Probably still going to be a great environment. Oklahoma has a lot of question marks. We'll see what they are. Winnable football game. Alabama at home. Okay, we saw how they almost beat them on the road last year. The emotions will be high. I think that's a winnable game. We don't know what Bama's going to look like quite yet. I would absolutely say that is a winnable game for South Carolina. All right, we then go at Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, Lane Kiffin. We don't know what we're going to get out of them. Who knows? Another bye week. Then they go at A&M. We'll see what A&M looks like. That one could be a 50-50er. Coastal Carolina will be a win, and Clemson at home at the end of the year is going to be a really fun game. Now, this is a tough schedule, and that back half of the schedule is extremely tough. So what South Carolina needs to do, and what makes me confident that they could hit 7.5 wins, is they got to win those first 5 games. They have to go Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Kentucky. And there's no reason they will more than likely be favored in every single one of those games. If they start the year 5-0 into their bye week before they take on LSU and get into that tough back half of the schedule, to me, it's a layup over 7.5 for the Gamecocks. Now, last team, friends, don't click away. I promise this one's going to be fun. I know the natural instinct when you guys hear who I'm picking on this one is going to be to click away. Just do me a favor. Just hear me out. Hear me out, man. I'm going with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I'm doing it, man. I'm a Jeff Lebby guy. I think that he will get this program turned around. If they give him the time, if they give him the chance and the resources to do it, I think over time, again, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. And being in the SEC is so difficult. I mean, think about how long it's taken Vanderbilt to get to where they're at now. Now, I understand Clark Lee hasn't been there the whole time, and they've gone through James Franklin, which there was a little success there. And they've gone through how many different coaches, Derek Mason. They got to give Jeff Lebby time. Now, the line on Mississippi State sits at 3.5 before I just lose my mind on this. And I'm not a Bulldog fan by any stretch. I really think that teams that are in this situation, if they have the right coach, when the time is right, it can happen. So 3.5 wins is the line for the Bulldogs. Okay, they picked up 27 players from the transfer portal. I want to say, what is it, 51 new additions. I think it's second most in the country behind, I want to say, North Carolina and Belichick's roster emporium addition over there. But look, Jeff Lebby knew what he needed to do. He needed new faces. He needed an entirely new team. Whether that was, his doing of kind of ousting guys out the door, or their doing is to like, I don't really want to be in Starkville anymore. All of that considered, Blake Shapen is back. So you have experience at the most important position on the field. Now, I'm sure, again, Blake Shapen didn't play amazing last year. Obviously, there was injuries, but the team as a whole didn't. I don't even think it's fair to really put it all onto him. I think Jeff Lebby's going to have these guys playing. 51 new faces. If even just 11 of those 51 guys can give you some kind of pivotal impact or some kind of monumental impact, not even, and when I say monumental, I don't mean like Heisman candidacy. I just mean like go out and make plays and be athletic and compete. It can absolutely happen that they can hit over 3.5, and I'll pull up the schedule right now, and that's what we're going to talk about. At Southern Miss, it's a scary game. It's a scary game. Again, and the reason I say it is for them is it's Mississippi State, but they should win that football game. That's going to be the big one, right? If they got to get off to a hot start. If they can win that football game, I'm happy. Arizona State at home in Starkville. That's going to be a fun one, man. Now, I know that the natural instinct on that one as well is to be like, blowout. It's going to be a blowout. Last year, these two teams played. Now, I live in Arizona, and I almost went to this football game. I'm not a fan of either school, but I almost went to this football game because it was a night game at Sun Devil Stadium. It was late. Tickets were actually very cheap because, again, at the time, it was, I think, week 2 or 3 last year. Like, nobody knew what ASU was going to be. Nobody knew what Mississippi State was going to be. And everyone assumed that they were going to be at the bottom of both of their respective conferences. One was, the other obviously was in the college football playoff and nearly beat Texas. So I kicked myself for not going, but it was a close game is what I'm trying to get to. It was a very close game, down to the fourth quarter, last drive of the football game. I know the ASU has a ton of returning production. They get Dillingham is back, Marcus Arroyo, their offensive coordinator, is back, Sam Levitt. I mean, it doesn't end. But I'm just watch out. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I just think if they can beat Southern Miss week 1, the Cowbells will be moving in Starkville week 2. It's going to be a ranked team, more than likely a top 10 team. That atmosphere will be incredible. What kind of passion and emotion do these young athletes come in with? That's what I want to watch for. Okay, week 3, Alcorn State. That should be a win as well. That could be 2 wins already, and you're halfway there. NIU should be a win. That's 3. That's 3 wins already. All you need to do for the rest of the season to get over is win one of these remaining games between Tennessee, which, hey, we don't know what Tennessee is going to be. I still think Tennessee is going to be really good, so we do. But in terms of the SEC as a whole, the entire outlook, we really don't know. We don't know what Tennessee is going to be this year. We don't know what A&M will be. I think we know a little more about A&M. Marcel Reed back. Mike Elko's got that program moving in the right direction. At Florida, that's a tough one. The Gators are going to be better than they were last year, and they dismantled you at home last year. Texas at home, another scary one. Okay, I could see where they probably lost 4 in a row here, but at Arkansas is another one too. Is Arkansas just done? Is Pittman still there? Has Arkansas found their footing with Taylon Green? Like what exactly is going on there, right? That's going to be the big question as well. Then you got Georgia. How does Georgia look? What's going on with that one? I'm sure Georgia will probably roll. You got Missouri. What is Missouri looking like? Do we know? And then Ole Miss at the end of the year. Egg Bowl, anything can happen in the Egg Bowl. So, friends, again, all I'm saying, you beat Southern Miss, you beat Alcorn State, and you beat NIU. All you need is one of those remaining games.